Cancha aprovechamos, se ven excelentes condiciones, en la altura parece que no es un problema para ninguno de los dos, pero esperemos que salga un excelente partido.
Ahí está el Conejo Pérez con la bandera colombiana, el Beto García Aspe con el banderín que será intercambiado con el capitán Charrúa, los fotógrafos esperando el momento que también entre Uruguay, ¿no?
Aquí está la alineación que ya le habíamos presentado. Hay que destacar, entre otras cosas, entre los partidos de hoy y mañana, que llegue quien llegue a la final, va a ser una final inédita. Sea cual sea, la dupla que llega al partido del domingo a la gran final, nunca se habrían enfrentado en final de esta Copa América.
Y lo interesantísimo también es que tanto hoy como mañana se van a dar dos encuentros que enfrentan a un equipo de la ex CONCACAF, ahora Confederación de Fútbol, en este caso México hoy y Honduras mañana, frente a un equipo de la CONMEBOL. Hoy Uruguay, mañana Colombia, o sea que CONCACAF contra CONMEBOL en las dos semifinales.
Y que también Uruguay lleva un equipo muy joven, de un promedio muy bajo, 22 años, 4 meses, algo así. Y por el contrario, México se define por el final Aguirre, por poner a Borghetti, a Aspe, gente, a lo mejor trata de diferenciar en experiencia lo que pueda pasar en la cancha.
Ahí está Borghetti haciendo jueguito, qué bien, Borghetti regresando al equipo, Pablo, un jugador que hacía falta, ¿no? Mientras sale Uruguay.
Y vienen los uruguayos encabezados por el capitán Sorondo, también con la manta alusiva y con una bandera en favor de Colombia, que habrá que decirlo de paso, ha tratado magníficamente a todo el mundo que ha estado presente en aquel hermoso país para la realización 40 de esta Copa América. Ahí vienen Morales, Lemos, que es el 9, allá va Joe Vicera con el número 2, y la gente, claro, me supongo que le tiene más apoyo a la selección uruguaya, tomando en cuenta que es sudamericana, pero decimos, estamos en un partido donde es muy difícil, creo, establecer un favorito, claro.
Sí, y aparte, fíjate que ese detalle ya le va ganando a México, se aviva a Uruguay y saca la bandera colombiana, como que es una forma de decirle que están con ellos.
World is drawing to a close, and the competition that began in some chaos, it has to be said, just over 2 weeks ago now, has actually turned out to be an entertaining spectacle. Plenty of goals, plenty of good football, and some major upsets. 12 nations started out on the road to the final in Bogota. Now only 4 remain, and there have been some high-profile casualties, of course. Argentina didn't even make it to the start line, refusing to send a team at short notice, and Brazil crashed out in the quarterfinals. But the host nation is still with us. Colombia take on the surprise outsiders Honduras tomorrow evening. And here in the western city of Pereira tonight, it's the turn of Uruguay, one of the most successful nations in the history of this competition, who take on the man in green, Mexico. Uruguay, the first ever winners of the South American Championships. They hold the record jointly with Argentina for the greatest number of victories, and they reached the final last time round, losing to Brazil 2 years ago. Mexico, well, they're relative newcomers to Copa America. Geographically, they sit in 2 major football regions, and this is only the 5th time they've entered as invited guests. However, they do have an excellent record, having reached this semi-final stage 4 times out of 5. They've yet to make it through to the final itself. Both nations have reached the last 4 with a less than impressive record, it has to be said. Uruguay scraping through Group C with only 1 win before beating Costa Rica with a late goal in the quarter-final. Mexico came through Group A despite scoring only 1 goal, and then defeated Chile in the quarter-finals in this same stadium, incidentally. So, Iain, Dowie, really a difficult match to predict.
Yeah, very much so. 2 sides who've not been free-flowing and certainly just about get the job done. I mean, Uruguay are famous for it, that spirit, that passion. I think they call it the Charrúa, you know, it certainly drives them on, and you can see them suddenly taking a bit of belief out of this. Both teams come off relatively poor World Cup qualifying programs. Certainly Mexico, who come from a terrible sort of run of games, but even Uruguay have played 13. I think they've won 6 and lost 4. So for them, it's a number of defeats that they probably they more than unexpected defeats that they would have done. So I think in this case, it's going to be very, very exciting to see how the tactical battle works out. And I can see that, you know, in Coach Pua, motivator for Uruguay, and Aguirre, the young lad, you know, relatively young lad in terms of managerial experience. He's going to see how they make out their tactical plans against each other.
Tonight's referee is from Argentina, Senor Angel Sanchez. And the Mexicans have finished their little pre-match bonding routine. He can get the action underway here in Pereira. And it's Uruguay who do that in their famous sky blue shirts, the Mexicans in their familiar green shirts. Both teams we expect to play a fairly similar formation, likely to opt for 3 at the back. There have been a number of changes as Morales attacks first for Uruguay down that right-hand side. One of the 2 Morales strikers, not related of course, one is black. Richard Morales here, Carlos Maria Morales, the white man who partners him in the Uruguayan attack. But a number of changes by both sides. Mexico in particular have used a lot of players in this tournament, including all 3 goalkeepers so far. Nice bit of skill on the ball there by another of the Morales. There are 3 altogether in action tonight, 2 in the Mexican team, and the one we've all, the 4 I should say, and the 2 we've already mentioned in Uruguay's lineup. Playing number 5, Vidrio, who's played in every game so far. Marquez is the sweeper. Ramon Morales, the other centre-back. And the Mexican defenders taking this early opportunity to get an early feel of the ball. Ramon Morales playing it forward for the first time. Arellano is the left wing back. Good build-up. Garcia Aspe, the captain, finally dispossessed by Perez, the defensive midfielder for Uruguay. Garcia Aspe again, the veteran 33-year-old in this Mexican side, one of their most experienced players, dispossessed by the captain of Uruguay, Sorondo, who's had a very good championships, a really steadying influence in the heart of their defense. Arellano linking again with Torrado, the midfield player. Now Garcia Aspe for Mexico. Free on this side is Zapeda, still hasn't got the ball though. But it's an excellent build-up. Garcia Aspe's shot was blocked in the end, but a very confident start by the Mexicans in. Yeah,
knocked the ball around nicely. Very much as we expected. Both teams go 3 at the back. The only real change is that obviously with Becerra, Uruguay is playing left side and Gutierrez playing right side. So Becerra very much, you know, he can play in a number of different positions. He's played full-back, right side centre-half of 3, and now left side centre-half. So but very, very confident from Mexico. Certainly Aspe and Arellano very much to the fore, interlinking with Borghetti up front, and it's going to be interesting to see how they cope with that movement off the ball, Uruguay.
Mexico came into these championships off the back of 6 straight defeats and just 2 wins in 13 internationals. So the way they've overturned that kind of form is great credit to them. Although they only managed to score 1 goal in the opening phase, it was a pretty important and historic goal for them. It was the goal that beat Brazil. Then they had a goalless draw against Paraguay and lost 1-0 against Peru before taking their place in the quarter-final where they beat Chile 2-0. So Mexico have only let in 1 goal in 4 matches and scored 3. The Uruguayans' record is not a great deal more impressive. They scraped through in 3rd place in Group C. 1 win, 1 draw, 1 defeat, and they only scored 2 goals in the opening phase as well before their 2 against Costa Rica in the quarter-final. Costa Rica fancied by many to make it all the way through to the final, but a late goal, a free kick by Lima, who's playing again tonight for Uruguay. A deflected free kick gave this new young Uruguayan team victory, and they're now bidding for their 2nd successive appearance in the Copa final.
But just an interesting little bit there on the build-up with Uruguay, and we did mention Lemos, Rodrigo Lemos, the mummy they call him, and what he does, he really does play very, very advanced. And it's going to be interesting to see how Torrado and maybe Garcia Aspe deal with him, because they really do need to mark him. Otherwise they'll leave themselves 3 for 3 at the back, and certainly they could get exposed to that, because Lemos has really got some ability on the ball. He's the one to watch for Uruguay in these early stages.
Here's the shaven-headed Pablo Lima, whose goal I mentioned a moment ago eliminated Costa Rica in the quarter-finals. A more disappointing free kick from him this time, which Mexico have dealt with reasonably comfortably. However, the danger hasn't completely gone yet, and Lima gets the ball back again, playing it short into Bizera, and wearing number 5 is Perez. Moved on to Lemos, who very much links things together in the middle of midfield. Then a sliding tackle by Morales. Here's Lemos again, takes all the free kicks, all the corners. Well, almost all the free kicks anyway. He left it to Lima in the end against Costa Rica, because if I remember rightly, he'd been substituted just a few minutes before that. And Lima took his chance very well. The 5th time Mexico have entered the Copa America, and they have reached the final in their first attempt in Ecuador 8 years ago, losing to Argentina, but never have they won the competition.
Well, it's just interesting watching Mexico there, and they are having a little bit of a tactical change. They're actually playing Borghetti almost up front in his own, and they've swapped Morales and Arellano off, and then Morales is playing as a left wing back, and Arellano's the one who's playing in behind Borghetti to join. So they're almost playing a sort of 3-6-1 formation, Mexico, and letting Arellano join it to make it 3-5-2. So that'll be interesting, because they've got 3 centre-backs really only marking one, Uruguay, and that's the big man Borghetti, who scored the winner against Brazil. So it'll be certainly much up to Bizera, Sorondo or Gutierrez to come out with the ball and make the most of that advantage in that position.
Garcia Aspe moving it out again to that left-hand side where Morales returns it. Garcia Aspe was caught when the ball was played back to him. The Mexican fans angry about that. The referee gave them the advantage, and as it happens, I don't think any advantage has come from it, because he now seems to be signalling goal kick. Obviously the ball had crossed the line before the centre came in.
Yeah, there's been a bit. They've certainly seemed to have been a bit more lenient as the tournament's gone on, and quite right too. With a number of red cards, you'd have ended up a number of games with 9 players on 2 or 3 sides during this. So it's disappointing, that sort of thing. So they've eased up a bit, although sometimes when it's a late challenge like it was on Aspe, they certainly may have deserved a yellow card, but nothing given.
There has been an amnesty regarding yellow cards, incidentally, after the first phase. Anyone who got a caution in those group games, it was wiped from their record. And that has enabled a couple of players to take the field tonight who might not otherwise have done so. And Bizera, the Uruguayan centre-back, has returned to their side after suspension following an earlier sending off. Richard Morales winning the throw, which Pablo Lima will take. And the coach, Aguirre, the Mexican coach, almost on the touchline himself there, barking out a few orders as Lima hurls that throw towards the 6-yard box. Morales just couldn't quite get the knockdown, and then it was cleared by Garcia Aspe. Back it comes, and that's an offside against Richard Morales.
Interesting tactic there. With they've got big Richard Morales up there, and they use him as an outlet, try and throw long balls in, certainly direct deliveries to him, making the most of their set-piece situations. And it's certainly a part of the game you have to take some time to, and certainly Coach Kua has done that. And I think for Uruguay, there's bright times ahead. Especially with the under-20 side doing well. I think won a silver medal, I think, in the championships, won the World Youth Championships there, and it's important. And Victor Pua was the coach, so he knows what it takes. And even that, I mean, only you have to go to the front line to get a man over 30 in the team, and they've got back 4 of an average age of about 20, back 3 of an average age of 22. So there's some bright future ahead for Uruguay if they can keep this squad together.
Yeah, they actually won the World Youth Cup 2 years ago as well. In comes the throw, and cleared not too successfully as yet. Garcia Aspe finally hacks it clear, and then a neat layoff by the number 9 Borghetti, who hasn't seen too much of the ball in an advanced position as yet, and still remains inside his own half as Rodriguez builds this attack out to Zepeda on the right-hand side. Well, caught in possession in what could be a fatal area there by Lemos. Mexico getting men back quickly, though. The cross tempting for Morales. The first real opportunity of the game.
Yeah, good link up between the 2 front men there. Carlos Morales, lovely dink ball. But Richard Morales, if he's going to score there, it's got to be a big loopy header. He's got to really head it on the top of his head almost, get a nice looping header into that far corner. That's the only opportunity he had. But nice patient build-up by Uruguay, and they're just starting to come into the game a bit more in the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Zepeda gets the return from the throw and makes a bit of a mess of it. Mexico medalists, remembering 3 of the previous 4 Copa Americas in which they've taken part. Runners-up in 1993 and then 3rd in 97 and again 2 years ago in Uruguay, where they lost the final against Brazil. No one has to worry about Brazil anymore in this competition, but Colombia, the host nation, will be the team to beat, you fancy, out of those in the last 4.
There's Arellano in that little hole behind the front man, and he was another one disenchanted with the previous coach, and he's been welcomed back into the frame. He looks a nice, neat, tidy player.
Anchan with the clearance for Uruguay. Morales goes up and the linesman's flag goes up as well. His challenge against Marquez, and it looks like Mexico have got the verdict, free kick in their favour.
I think it was actually that Richard Morales was offside from the initial big punt up the field, so just needs to get back a bit sharper in place. But so what Uruguay do have, and it's a real weapon, is they use that Pablo Lima long throw. He really has got a long throw, and just once they threw it almost 30-40 yards down the line and put Richard Morales almost clean through. So, you know, that's got to be a weapon that they have to be very aware of, Mexico.
Garcia Aspe will invite players forward down that left-hand side. He does the job that Lemos does for Uruguay, but on this occasion the long ball for Arellano has found the linesman flagging for offside again.
And he's not offside. Not offside. Wonderful outside of the boot ball from Garcia Aspe. Lovely run from Arellano, and the linesman gets it wrong. Although it's a very, very tight decision, but he was definitely onside.
Morales beaten to the header this time by his namesake, wearing number 3 in the Mexican defence. And Javier Aguirre, a former player, in fact he was a striker alongside the famous Hugo Sanchez in the Mexican attack in the mid-1980s, when of course Mexico hosted the World Cup finals of '86. I think if we say Morales, we're pretty safe here tonight, because that was another Morales involved in the build-up. Lemos tight on that touchline. The challenge came in from Tirado, and Mexico come out with the ball. Arellano for them.
Yeah, they all have these defensive midfield players, all these South Americans, and Tirado, who plays in Tenerife in Spain, and he's the one that does it for Mexico, sitting in there. There he is again, a little holding position. No lack of quality on the ball either. Wonderful through ball, just well defended by Lima there.
And here he is once again, displaying his skills. The crowd really enjoyed that moment. Zepeda then giving the ball away.
Yeah, he's got good talent, Arellano, really is confident on the ball, and wonderful trickery there. Just need a bit better end product.
Jesus Arellano scored the first goal in the quarter-final against Chile, and there's a lovely through ball and a lovely turn as well, and Mexico could get the first and have. Brilliant finish. Borghetti gives Mexico the lead. 14 minutes gone.
Well, Garcia Aspe's been at the brunt of everything that they've done going forward. They really have looked right going forward under Garcia Aspe and Arellano, and it's a wonderful through ball from an excellent run Borghetti, but he's still got a lot to do. You think he's missed a chance. He hooks it back onto his right foot, plants a wonderful shot past Manure in the Uruguay goal. Here you see it, look, cross shot right into that far side netting. Great finish. It's excellent. He does a lovely little turn inside. You think the chance is gone. He gets back at him, Lima, but does him again with a lovely disguise, and then finishes with some aplomb in that far corner. Just a little bit in the build-up there. Wonderful ball from Aspe. Still got a lot to do there. Yeah, great manipulating the ball. Keeps it close control. Wonderful finish.
Jared Borghetti's second goal of the Copa America. He scored the winner in the opening match against Brazil. And what a start for the Mexicans.
Well, in Uruguay, I think we're 1 down against Costa Rica. They're going to have to come back again, and they do need certainly to show that famous spirit they have. But wonderful through ball from Garcia Aspe, and he really is a talent on the ball. We're talking about outside the boot passes. You know, it's important for any kids watching at home, how these South Americans, they use, you know, all areas of their feet, you know, multi-surface footballers, as you know, coaches like to call them, outside, inside, you know, both feet, and it's excellent to watch, and he's certainly a great exponent of it.
Well, the problem now for Uruguay is obvious, penetrating the Mexican defence. It's only been beaten once in their previous 4 matches in the Copa America. But as Iain rightly points out, Uruguay went behind in the first half against Costa Rica and came back to win that match. As Sorondo plays the free kick, looking for Richard Morales, fails to find him. Anchon will swing it back in, and it's a good ball as well. Fine headed away by Marquez. And the goal scorer Borghetti dispossessed. Sorondo.
Certainly important for Mexico. They don't sit back too deep too early and allow the Uruguayans to build a head of steam up and camp them in their half. They play lovely, attractive football. They need to get Aspe on the ball. That man there, Borghetti and Arellano. Make sure that they keep playing positively, because that takes the pressure away. Because defenders, will make mistakes throughout the game. There's no doubt about it. And what you need to do is give them a break. They can't defend for 75 minutes and expect to keep a clean sheet. They need an outlet, and that's where their forwards make sure they can get hold of the ball. There is an opportunity.
Lemos. Well, he cut inside well, and then a disappointing cross. Almost seemed to run out of steam.
Didn't look like he had a left foot there at all. Wonderful right foot, but his left foot was very poor technique there.
And here he goes again, Arellano, popping up in every area of the field in the opening 16 minutes here. And using the ball extremely well, normally, although that one for Zepeda beat him to it.
Yeah, just flew a bit in the air, but he has done very well. His movement's been right here. You see the goal again. Again, he steps over it. Pablo Lima thought he's got back, but wonderful shot right across the goal.
Superb finish by Borghetti. Now Sorondo, the Uruguayan captain. Morales, and now the other Morales. But the tackle was just a bit too sharp for him.
Well, for the moment, the FIFA ranking certainly bearing out, that's for sure. With the Mexicans 14th in the world and the Uruguayans some 16 places below them, I think the 30th. So at the moment, it looks things are panning out how FIFA expect them to. But you never know in this game, and there's always something more to come from the Uruguayans, you feel.
And maybe they're going to get an early opportunity to get level, because the referee didn't like that tackle by Zepeda on Richard Morales. He's given a free kick.
Yeah, I thought it was a poor decision from the referee. Looked a fairly decent challenge from Zepeda, but maybe an opportunity for Lemos here to show that quality right foot that we know he has.
Lemos, the number 9 for Uruguay. And again, Morales on the far post. And in the end, the effort by Perez was blocked. And I don't know whether Borghetti got the ball in his face from the block or from the initial free kick. It was from the initial free kick. Smacked straight into his forehead.
Well, it's interesting you talk about jumping for free kicks. I mean, Pablo Lima hit a shot against Costa Rica. The wall jumped. He went straight under the wall into the bottom corner. They're through to the semi-finals. There, Borghetti decides to jump and he saves it. So, there is certainly a balancing act to whether you do. I mean, I personally prefer them not to jump and just stand on their tiptoes. But there it proves the right decision. It hits him flush in the face, and he'll certainly be having a headache in the morning. But hopefully it'll be for one can celebrate and getting Mexico into the final.
Looks like a mountain rescue team carting him off here, slightly over the top. Well, that will certainly shake up the grey matter. That ball fairly thumped at him from Lemos's free kick. And the same man on the ball again. Did he get a nudge there from Marquez this time? No. The decision is a throw. Mexico very adept at slowing things down to the pace that they prefer. Uruguay might have to inject a little bit more pace into their game. Now that's a naughty tackle by Garcia Aspe. The referees let play go on. The challenge came in then from Morales, and he has won the ball back. Let's see if the referee takes any further action when the ball goes out of play.
You're never sure how much is in that challenge. You know, the referee let play go on, but you know, he's certainly up and about and running now, so maybe there wasn't too much of a challenge there from Garcia Aspe.
No, I think play acting has been one of the features that has been less entertaining in these championships. The header by Richard Morales straight through to the goalkeeper Oscar Perez.
Yeah, I think that's where you want Morales to get hold of the ball, get his chest down, bring people into play. Try a little flick header straight through to the keeper.
Well, that was a brilliant bit of defending by Sorondo, because Zepeda had got really well forward there for Mexico, and if the big centre-half hadn't have won that, Uruguay might have been in trouble again.
I suppose he's going to get booked here, I think, for that earlier challenge. Yeah, he does. Got booked, and the referee's just produced the yellow card there for Aspe for that earlier challenge.
Yeah, full marks to the referee. Was a couple of minutes later, but that was his first opportunity, the first time the ball had gone out of play. So Garcia Aspe, the Mexican captain, becomes the first player to be yellow carded. Here goes Lemos for Uruguay. Again, poor use of the ball from a player who's much better than that. And then Borghetti goes spinning under the challenge from Callejas, and the referee doesn't give a free kick again.
No, yeah, poor ball there from Lemos. I mean, it's a simple ball in behind the fullback, but he hits it straight at him. And at the moment, Uruguay's fine the ball, letting him down. But on the other hand, the movement of Arellano and the other Borghetti up front has really caused the defensive back three of Uruguay problems. They've got in too many times for certainly for the liking of Coach Pua.
Coming up to the midway point of the first half. And confirmation that the yellow card was shown to Garcia Aspe, despite the name on the caption there. That's what he's best known as Borghetti flicks it forward for Arellano. And the ball coming back out again to one of the Morales on the field, one of the four. Here's Zepeda. Arellano. And he might still find a way through. He felt he was being dragged back, and the referee has agreed with him. Arellano wins the free kick.
Oh, good job he agrees with him, because he hadn't turned his back. There's an opportunity there to actually get the ball straight back to his feet. Here you see him, he stops here, but look, the challenge here, and it comes straight back to him. So a great opportunity here for Mexico to certainly test the keeper, and Manure will have to make sure his defensive wall's up to its task from this sort of 20-25 yards.
Garcia Aspe, the captain, will take the free kick himself. Went for goal. Rather surprisingly, it's come back out to Zepeda, and he's lost possession as well. Now Lemos for Uruguay. That's better. That's the type of ball we know he's capable of. Morales couldn't retain possession for long enough. And Mexico will come back again down that left-hand side with Ramon Morales, just exchanging passes with Rodriguez. 1-0 in Mexico's favour in the first of the Copa America semi-finals, remember. It's all a little too intricate, really, and Mexico get a throw.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot more cohesion about the play of Mexico than there is Uruguay. You know, they have a bit more pattern to their play, and it's mainly because of the way Torrado, just the number 6 there in your picture, the way he dictates things. He sits there, dictates things, short passes, long passes, but all the time he's chivying up his mates, passing on information, and that's invaluable. You know, and he's an unsung sort of player within the framework, but it's a vital part he plays, linking continuity type player, but also does a wonderful defensive job.
Ramon Morales with the throw. Arellano is dispossessed. Lemos seen more of the ball, I think, than any player on the pitch in the opening almost 25 minutes here. And Garcia Aspe had better be careful, having just been yellow carded. That was foolish to say the least. Wasn't too serious, but a jumpier referee might have jumped for his pocket then, reached for a red card. He's let a lot go, the Argentine official, Angel Sanchez, so far. Arellano stopped in his tracks by the challenge on Sorondo.
It's a wonderful challenge from Sorondo, but the trouble with Sorondo there, he was maybe 20 yards deeper than Gutierrez there, and that gives such a lot of space for Ramon Morales to run into, and he does that, and it's only a wonderful covering challenge that prevents that. 20 yards is far too deep off your other centre halves.
Mexico looking the better team early on here. They have the lead and they deserve it, I think.
Yeah, I do. I think they've passed the ball round. Looks a lot more solid, and not too much of a pun, but Victor Pua will be certainly not happy with the poor defending in his team.
I mentioned earlier that geographically Mexico are actually in the CONCACAF region in the football world. They're the top nation in that really. They've won 3 successive Gold Cup tournaments. That's the big competition for nations in that part of the world. They haven't fared quite so well when they've pitted themselves against the top South American nations, but that could all change here in Copa America. They've already impressed many with the way they've got through to this stage. Could they be looking at an appearance in the final?
Yeah, I think they had, you talk about the stars like Sanchez, Campos, Hernandez, they're the sort of star names that have been missing of late.
Sorondo's free kick towards Morales and then turned back in on the near post. The goalkeeper couldn't safely hold on to the ball, and frustration for Callejas, who might have done something when the ball was dropped at his feet.
It's a wonderful technique there from Callejas. Look at that. Wonderful, real fantastic technique. Not the best goalkeeping from Perez there either.
Here's Sorondo again. Callejas dispossessed this time by Rodriguez. And the ball played through to Borghetti again, and now to Arellano. They've got that extra man over. Borghetti was waiting for the cross that never came from Morales. Well blocked by the defender Gutierrez. But again, poor defending there by Uruguay. They just let players go on the throw-in, and Garcia Aspe has won Mexico a corner.
Yeah, it's just a straight throw-in from Morales, and he throws it straight to the feet of Garcia Aspe there. No sort of marking. Gutierrez there doesn't know whether to go to the wide man or take Garcia Aspe. He does neither. He throws it straight over his head to Garcia Aspe, and if he had a better touch, he would have been in with a shot at goal. But their movement, Mexico's much better. Yeah, it really is. It's calling there, Sorondo, a lot of problems, and there he is, that man. He's certainly at the heart of it, Arellano. He's been real bright with his movement.
This corner whipped in towards the penalty spot, dealt with by Sorondo, and that'll be a throw-in. They're in a hurry now, Mexico. Too much of a hurry, as it happens on this occasion. Well, Mexico have taken one important step towards a place in the final. Will the host nation, Colombia, come through their semi-final tomorrow? They play Honduras, who surprisingly beat Brazil in the quarterfinals, and you can watch that game as well. Colombia against Honduras. The program begins at 1 a.m. 1-0 here to Mexico. Borghetti, who got the goal, winning the header and finding Arellano. Good running by Morales, but again his cross is blocked. Lemos for Uruguay remains their biggest hope, perhaps, of getting a foothold back into this game. Here's Lima.
Well, I'll tell you what the difference is in the two sides on attacking sense at the moment is, Alan, is that they're getting midfield runners beyond their front men, Mexico, and Uruguay are certainly not doing it. Everything's coming short to feet, no one's going in beyond, and therefore they're not stretching the defence of Mexico. Mexican defence isn't being stretched at all. It's all in front of them. It's all nice and easy. They can see what's going on. They make easy decisions. You've got to make defenders make hard decisions, and that happens when you've got to take 2 or 3 runners, or make decisions between which runners to take.
Well, Lemos was surely foul there. We're all for the referee being lenient and letting play run. perhaps I've done him an injustice. Maybe he has brought it back for the free kick. Bodies littered in that corner of the field.
Always amazes me as they fall, they manage to look at the referee. It's incredible that.
And Lemos has earned the free kick and will take it himself. We've reached the half-hour mark here in Pereira, and it is Mexico beating Uruguay by a goal to nil. Uruguay with a chance here to hit back perhaps. In towards Morales, a better, safer catch this time by Perez.
For me, it's too high and a too hangy delivery. Gives the keeper too much time to come and make a decision. You expect the keeper to get that. With Lemos' right foot, you want to whip into that corridor between defenders and goalkeeper and make difficult decisions.
Lima's throw. Brave header there by the centre-half, Vidrio. Lima turns it forward again, and this time it's Marquez who gets it clear, but the whistle has gone for a Uruguayan free kick, and that brave header has come at a price for Carlos Morales.
I like the look of him. He may have given a foul there. I didn't think it was a foul myself, but I like the look of Marquez. He's not been frightened. I mean, it's an interesting, different side of his game. He's not been frightened with the aerial challenge with Richard Morales tonight. He's taken that on, and it's another side of his game that he's certainly very competent in, as well as the ball-playing ability.
Lima's free kick. The goalkeeper came and then hesitated.
There he was again, Marquez. Towering header at the back. Really is invaluable.
I have to say the Mexican keeper has looked far from secure in the early stages here. Uruguay are looking for a crumb of comfort. That might be it, but they haven't severely tested him yet. There's Morales, and he's hauled down Torrado's challenge.
Yeah, I think you make a very valid point about goalkeepers. I mean, Mexicans have changed their keepers once or twice. You know, a lot of keepers are doing that. And I have to say, if one area of the tournament's been disappointing for me, it's been the goalkeeping standard. I really do. I think they make poor decisions about when to come for balls. Their handling hasn't been great. And, you know, you like your keepers to have good hands, and there's not been too many within this tournament.
Let's see if the keeper does any better here. He does. Morales rises highest of all. And Uruguay are level. A brilliantly delivered free kick. A towering header. And to be fair, I don't think any goalkeeper would have kept that one out. 1-1.
No, and he certainly posed a physical threat, but we did talk about good whipped-in delivery of the previous free kick. It's not high and hanging this time, it's delivered with pace. Wonderful area, great leap from Morales, tremendous header. Out jumps Vidrio, I think it is, at the far post, and again Lemos puts it in with a bit more pace. Look at the whip on the ball. He out jumps Vidrio, head and shoulders above him. Great header, no chance for the keeper. Here you see, picks against Vidrio. There he is, out jumps him, powers into the corner of the net. Fantastic header from Morales.
Richard Morales gets his first goal of the Copa America. Man who plays for last season's Uruguayan champions, Nacional, has brought his country level. Perfect timing on his part. 12 minutes of the first half remaining. And once again, Uruguay have come back from a one-goal deficit, as we're about to see an early Mexican change here. It's Sigifredo Mercado who is coming on, and he takes the place of Zepeda. It didn't look as though Zepeda was injured, but I can't believe the coach would have made a tactical change this early in the game, Iain.
Well, I think Mercado, he previously played as the holding midfield player in one of the previous games, but he looks like he's slotting into that right wing-back position. It's just maybe a bit more defensive-minded. I know Zepeda has played up front in the past, and maybe they think they've just got too many forward-looking players in the team. So he's just maybe tying things up. I think it's certainly a tactical switch. But here's the delivery again. Wonderful delivery. Great header.
Striker's dream, back cross. And Lemos has had a hand in most of the good things Uruguay have done in this tournament. They weren't expected to reach the final 2 years ago when the competition was held in Paraguay. They surprised everyone then with a new young team, an equally new young team here, with many of their bigger and better known stars unavailable, are threatening to emulate their counterparts of 2 years ago. And since Argentina aren't even here, of course, as we just see confirmation there of the substitution by Mexico, since Argentina aren't even here, Uruguay could make themselves a piece of history. If they were to win, they would be the most successful Copa America team of all time. But that little debate is for later. At the moment, the referee's got to sort out another harsh challenge there. And he's not produced a card. He certainly seems lenient. Senor Sanchez, the foul on Rodriguez, has, however, brought Mexico a free kick, which the only player as yet cautioned, the Mexican captain, Garcia Aspe, will take. Again, whipped in a little short, disappointing really, on their most experienced player, but he's there to win it back on the halfway line. Now Morales punts it forward, and here's Borghetti again. Held it up well. And the substitute gets the cross in. It was a decent one. Didn't quite travel to Arellano, who was well placed, 6-yard box.
I mean, that's just a defensive clearance there, and when the initial attack starts, and Uruguay pushing out, not pushing out, I mean, they've got depth of them again. Sorondo's deep, and it just falls to the feet of Borghetti, almost inside the box unmarked. It ends with a great header from Sorondo to clear this danger.
Another potentially dangerous cross, this time from Rodriguez. And Uruguay's defence is looking none too secure. Strange thing is that both these teams have had problems scoring goals and have been tight defensively, but they seem to have reversed the trend in this game. Both managing a goal in the opening half an hour or so, and both looking vulnerable defensively.
Well, certainly, I think that's what kept Uruguay in the position in the World Cup qualifying group there. I think they're 5th at the moment. So, you know, they've only conceded 8 goals in 13 games. It's a wonderful record. So you would expect to be a bit more tighter. But it's been a good response on the positive offensive side from Uruguay. They pass the ball about. They've got Lemos involved with the game a bit more. Callejas has been nice and positive. And particularly Carlos Morales up front, as the 15, has done ever so well. He's had good movement, supporting the more target man in Richard Morales. Morales has been more central, and Carlos has made the movements around him.
Well, they do have a terrific spirit. There's no doubt about that, Uruguay. All their teams down the years have shown that. It's gone over the boiling point a few times, admittedly. But there's a great togetherness in their squad, and you can sense that as Lima hurls one in again towards Morales, who went down. And the whistle has gone for a foul in favour of the Mexicans.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think it's the other way. I think this is a penalty. If you watch Ramon Morales here, he doesn't even look at the ball. He just blocks. See there, he just runs into Richard Morales. No intent of playing the ball. He just runs into him. Look, there he is, look. It's a clear body check. Richard Morales has got his eyes on the ball. Ramon C. Morales has got his eyes only on Richard Morales, and I think it's a penalty there.
I must admit, when the whistle went, that was my first opinion as well, that the referee was going to point to the spot. Bit of hesitation again there from goalkeeper Perez. He got away with it this time.
Whatever happened there, certainly Morales made a foul there, Alan.
7 minutes to half-time. 1-1. And can I remind you that there are no replays, of course, at this late stage of the competition. Not even any extra time. The match will be decided tonight on penalties if they're still level after 90 minutes, and another harsh challenge on Richard Morales, and another yellow card. This time it's for Rodriguez, I think, or was it Marquez? Yeah, it was Marquez, the referee decided is the aggressor. So 2 Mexicans cautioned so far. Now Marquez has got to defend the free kick he's just conceded. And it's a good one too. Well, it looks as though nobody wanted to attack that from Uruguay's point of view.
I think they've certainly singled out Richard Morales as the main threat. You see Marquez there just doesn't even bother looking at the ball, just grabs him and hauls him to the ground, and that's something a lot of foreign sides use. They look to just almost hold you and stop you moving for the ball. But it's interesting you say in the game we finished tonight 1-1 with the penalties. I think it's Uruguay had a 2-hour session just purely on penalties in the last couple of days, just practicing them. So you know that they certainly are going to be prepared for the penalty shootout if it comes.
Well, we thought they were heading towards penalties in the quarter-final against Costa Rica, as we see that shove again there from Marquez. And then they got that late winner thanks to Lima. So there's no telling what Uruguay can produce.
Certainly Uruguay in a bit of an ascendancy here. They haven't really got their passing game going the last 5 or 6 minutes, Mexico. And they've been hassled out of their stride by a much more industrious midfield movement from Uruguay.
Rodriguez unable to keep the ball in play as we go into the last 5 minutes of the first half. Long throw, very useful weapon, because Lima has enabled his team to gain some 20 yards and move into the Mexican half. There's another huge throw from him to Morales. And they've steadily gained progress down this left touchline, thanks to him.
Yeah, they might get a situation where they launch one in the box again. So, you know, it's certainly a threat. It's not what you associate with South American sides, but it's a weapon that Lima's got, and he's, you know, the young 20-year-old's been using it to good effect.
Well, again, Morales hit the deck there. Again, he appeals to the referee. But again, nothing is given in his favour.
I felt there the defender held his ground quite well there. I think it was Marquez again, held his ground quite strongly, and he went a bit too easy to ground Morales. But they have to be careful in there. I mean, they'll be having a word with the referees, the Uruguayan, saying there's what's the pushing and shoving in there, and he'll be keep more of a close eye on it. So the Mexicans have to be careful. Sometimes what they do, they rotate the player who's marking him, so it's not the same player making the foul all the time.
And there was a push in the back of Morales then, and almost an own goal following that. Well, Morales, I think, is very unhappy at the treatment he's getting. He's complaining to the referee that he was barged over as he was about to climb for that high ball.
Well, how many years since you've seen that in a South American tournament? Keeper coming out to take a ball 10 yards outside his box, launching it into the other box, and they've got a corner from it.
And it's taken by the dead ball expert, Lemos. Morales again trying to wrestle himself clear of the attention of Mexican defenders. Rondo just pushes over his opposite captain, Garcia Raspe, and finally Mexico come out of that with a free kick.
Yeah, a trifle fortunate there. I thought Garcia Raspe was looking for the free kick, and he cleared the ball into an oncoming Uruguayan defender, and it almost put Mercado through.
Here's the captain again for Mexico. He wins another free kick. With only a couple of minutes of the half remaining now. Neither team taking any gambles, but from this set piece, Mexico will certainly send a lot forward, and Richard Morales has come back to defend inside the Uruguayan penalty area. Their goal scorer, remember, at the other end. There he is, the big number 20, as Arellano prepares to take the kick. And it's not bad, but just a little too deep in the end.
Yeah, Arellano tried to whip it in with pace for the big hitters, Vidrio, Marquez and Ramon Morales. They're all up there, but you know, woeful waste. This late in the half, you want to make sure that they have to defend an area. He's just putting his hand up saying, yeah, far too deep, sorry lads.
Morales having a really good game. Lima, Morales again. And Mexico get a free kick. Might work that one out myself. Foul on Mercado.
I think Lima was shown a yellow card there, so it's another one to add to the tally.
He's had an interesting first half, the referee.
He seems to have let some of the more robust challenges go without a caution. Some of the ones that really weren't too offensive, he's got a yellow card with.
Uruguay's first caution of the game for their hero of the quarter-final against Costa Rica, Pablo Lima. Didn't see awful lot wrong there. He might have just left his foot in and caught his opponent on the hip, but how deliberate it was, I'm not sure. As Arellano breaks for Mexico, Sorondo steps across to win it back.
What he does do well, Sorondo, he reads the game very well. He's much more to the fore now, picking it off. Certainly he's given himself not as much depth, but enough to maybe a covering position. Swept up a couple of times, lovely. He's got a lovely touch on the ball as well.
The usual 1 minute of stoppage time. So we're getting a bit bogged down in midfield in this first half as we see Morales going forward again and being hauled down by Vidrio this time, and bodies spinning all over the place again. The referee has got to take some action here, and he's going to. And a red card has come out. It's a red card.
I think it's a poor decision from the referee. I don't think there's not that much of intent there. I really don't. I think it's an outrageous decision, spoiling what was really an entertaining game. And I think it's Carlos Morales has got the red card, and I think he doesn't. There's nothing in it. It's certainly not. There's no intent in it anyway.
Well, this is one we certainly need to see again when the referee sorted out this little melee. I'm sure the slow motion replay will give us a better idea. The two players going up in a challenge. The Mexican defender ends up on the deck, and Carlos Morales has ended up with a red card and dismissal. We're pretty certain it's him. The referee doesn't make his actions or decisions clear at all, but it is Carlos Morales marching now, and that obviously right on half-time, in stoppage time in fact in the first half, is a major blow for Uruguay and could turn out to be a turning point in this game. There's the injured player, Torrado.
He has got some stud marks down his leg there, so obviously was some contact there.
And the long walk rather earlier than he wished for Carlos Maria Morales, the Uruguayan striker. Let's have a look now, Iain.
Oh no, I think I got that wrong. There was a massive contact there. It's a very poor decision. Poor decision from Morales there. Very wild challenge. I mean, Torrado nicks the ball, and that's thigh high. That's an outrageous challenge, and quite right. The referee got it wrong. Got it right. I got it wrong the first time round. It's a woeful challenge, and fair. Torrado's done well to get up from that.
Yeah, it's all about angles, isn't it? Things can look so different from different positions, and that was the angle the referee saw, the one that our slow motion replay
What's he giving here though? How have they got the free kick?
Absolutely, yeah. Lemos takes it, and if that had gone in, then we would have had a very interesting situation. They've just had a player sent off, and the game restarts with a free kick to the team who had a man red carded. Answers on a postcard, please.
I think what he did was he actually gave for a previous free kick, but nonetheless a strange scenario.
And it brings to an end the first half, in which the referee has been prominent here in Pereira. 1 goal for each side, but only 10 men for Uruguay now in this second half. A lot for them to do. We'll be back in a moment.
Saludos, señores, de nuevo con todos ustedes desde la ciudad de Pereira, en Colombia, donde estamos en el descanso del partido entre las selecciones de México y de Uruguay. Ya está el trío arbitral sobre el terreno de juego. También tenemos ya señal perfecta en nuestro monitor. Y antes de que salgan las selecciones mexicana y uruguaya, vamos a aprovechar, como hicimos en el partido de México contra Chile, para comentar lo que ha ocurrido en la primera parte y lo que puede ocurrir en la segunda, con un comentarista de excepción como es Hugo Sánchez. Hugo, buenas noches.
Hola Paco, buenas noches, encantado de estar nuevamente contigo.
Pues nada, coméntanos qué te ha parecido esa primera parte, empate a 1 final.
Bueno, ha sido un partido muy parejo, sobre todo porque la batalla ha estado en el centro del campo. Ya sabemos el estilo clásico de los uruguayos, metiendo la pierna fuerte, algunas ocasiones hasta se pasan un poquito de fuertes con cierta rudeza. Y los mexicanos, bueno, se puso arriba en el marcador, pero hay una jugada de balón parado que es nuestra debilidad en muchos torneos internacionales, Copa del Mundo de Francia, partidos clasificatorios, Copas Américas. Siempre tenemos esa dificultad, los centros por arriba, no tenemos ese oficio marcador, y con esa facilidad remató pues Richard Morales para el gol del empate. Y menos mal que el árbitro estuvo ahí observando bien la falta fuerte, que expulsaron a un jugador uruguayo, Carlos María Morales, que fíjate, juega en Toluca de México.
Sí, lo hemos comentado.
Entonces, para él va a ser no muy agradable el haber hecho una entrada un poco alevosa, y ojalá que México pues aproveche esa superioridad numérica en la segunda parte y que nosotros nos olvidemos de entrar en la guerra de jugadas fuertes, y futbolísticamente creo que podemos ganar.
Oye, ¿cómo interpretas el cambio que hizo Javier Aguirre retirando Cepeda y colocando a Mercado? ¿Por qué?
Es que la jugada el partido contra Chile entró primero Beto Rodríguez, entonces él tiene unas tendencias defensivas, pero como sabía que podía ir más al ataque, metió a Cepeda, y Cepeda le dio muy buen resultado.
Pero no.
Quiso repetir el estilo de juego contra Chile, pero Cepeda no estaba enganchado al partido, entonces no lo vio concentrado, no lo vio mentalizado, estaba perdiendo balones y no estaba ni yendo adelante ni defendiendo atrás. Entonces pues cambió y lo puso a Sigifredo. Tiene una tendencia más defensiva Sigifredo,
claro,
pero con un hombre menos. Yo pienso que ahora en la segunda parte va a meter un jugador de talento, y creo que puede meter a Victorino.
¿Hablamos en Bogotá?
Perfecto.
En la final.
Espero en Dios que vaya a México.
¿Con tu selección?
Ojalá. Bueno, vamos a ir a Bogotá, porque si no se juega la final por el primero y segundo, sería por el tercero y cuarto. Pero bueno, encantado como siempre hablar para ti, para España, y bueno, pues saludos a toda la gente allá.
Gracias.
Un abrazo.
Nos vemos, Hugo.
Chao.
Pues nada, señoras y señores, las opiniones siempre valiosas de Hugo Sánchez.
Welcome back to Pereira as we're about to get the second half underway of the first Copa America semi-final. 1-1 at half-time, but the really significant moment came in first half stoppage time when the Argentine referee Ángel Sánchez sent off Carlos Morales, thus reducing Uruguay to 10 men for the whole of this second half. It's not exactly an unfamiliar situation for Uruguayan teams, let's face it. They've probably had as many dismissals over the years as virtually any other national team. However, it surely does make Mexico favourites, Iain Dowie, to go on and win this now.
Yeah, certainly, and I think you've seen Borghetti saying there before the kickoff, make sure we pass the ball, make the pitch big. They'll obviously just play with Uruguay, just play with Richard Morales up front, and Lemos will join him when he can, but otherwise he'll tuck into that defensive unit in midfield with that three in there, and then just hopefully alongside Diego Perez and Callejas, and hopefully just make it difficult for Mexico to break down.
As the first cross came in from the light, brave and lively, I should say, Arellano, who's really been one of the most outstanding players out there tonight. I guess the temptation, Iain, for Uruguay now is to hold on to what they've got, because if they can keep that scoreline intact through the 90 minutes, it goes to penalties, and obviously then anything can happen.
Yes, certainly, they won't chase the game. What they will do is look to get some free kicks, get some set pieces situations, work that long throw down the line of Pablo Lima, and hopefully maybe get another set piece that will create a goal. Other than that, they should be outplayed. There's a number of good passes in the Mexican side, as we've said, with Rodriguez, Garcia Aspe and Tirado all in there. So it's going to be very difficult for them.
Well, big Richard Morales has had an outstanding game so far. So too the number 9 there, Lemos, who joined him. But Uruguay are going to be looking for them to produce even more in this second half. Everyone really has to find that extra 10% now, with Mexico having a one-man advantage. And you feel if Mexico were able to get a second goal, especially early on in this half, the pendulum would definitely be swinging in their favour. Mexico bidding to reach the final of the competition for the second time in their history. Uruguay for the 21st time in their history. Ariana with the shot, and that was good goalkeeping, because if he'd let that one spill, any number of players could have knocked in the loose ball.
Well, I did say about Sorondo, he likes to be spare all the time, and that's one thing he cannot afford, the Uruguayans cannot afford to do. He lets Ariano come off, turn and have a strike from just outside the box. You know, he's lucky not to be punished further for that. And, you know, it's important that defenders do what they're best at, defend, be nice and tight to the forwards. There's no reason, you know, if they play their situation, they're probably like 3-4-2 or 3-4-1-1, so that they're still as they were, and the back three have got to mark Borghetti and Arellano, otherwise they will have problems.
What do you think the Mexican coach Aguirre will have said? You know, go for the jugular in the first 15 minutes of this half, or just be a little more cautious than that?
I don't think he'll say go for the jugular. What he'll want them to do is make the pitch very, very big. He'll want them to stretch them down the sides, make sure they really try and stretch them. They can't get down one way, they'll come out across the midfield and down the other way, because they are a man short. Make sure they try and stretch the defence as much as they can, and then pick off the openings. Certainly don't go too gun-ho, but be nice and positive, and really try and don't give away silly free kicks like that, and don't give them the opportunity to love the ball in the box. But for them, just be patient and look to make your openings.
As Gutierrez knocks it long, the goalkeeper's gone on walkabout again, but did the right thing on this occasion.
But did what I say again, it's an unnecessary set piece. They know Lima's got the long throw, and there it is.
And touched on towards Morales, who knocked it invitingly back across the 6-yard box. And perhaps if they'd had an extra player in there, then anything could have happened.
Well, as you say, it was Lemos and Morales linking up there. Yeah, they got the other side as well. Anchin's got the longest throw.
Lemos. Anchin couldn't win it back. This is Gutierrez. Lemos again, really tight on Tirado, the player who was fouled by Carlos Morales, which led to the red card right at the end in first half stoppage time.
I mean, at times in the first half they played quite direct, Uruguay, so in a sense it won't affect them that much. What it will affect is how much support they give to big Richard Morales, so he'll have to maintain possession a little bit for longer than he did in the first half, whereas he had lots of support in the first half. This half he may have to hold on, take 2 or 3 seconds till he gets supporting players.
Morales doing well here, and body check surely. The referee might have to reach for the dreaded yellow card again.
There might be a card for Gutierrez there.
You never know with this referee. He's had an inconsistent sort of night, and seemingly not prepared to deem that a caution, but it was a straight arm, almost an elbow right in the chin. Arellano with the free kick for Mexico. Uruguay daren't concede a goal this early in the second half. Arellano tried to catch the keeper out, I think, there by curling it to the near post.
And again, the jumping wall does its job there.
Once again, Arellano gets the ball. Goes for the return. And it opens up almost for him to get the shot in. It just wouldn't quite come to his right foot when he wanted it, as Marquez wins it back on the halfway line. Now Vidrio, a rare excursion into the opposition half for him. Arellano's there again, looking to push it through to Rodriguez, but Sorondo comes to win it back.
Well, as you mentioned, a rare excursion for Vidrio, but Vidrio, Marquez and Ramon Morales at the back, they're going to have to step forward, become that extra man from the Mexican back three, and join in, give them, make sure there's an overload in midfield. And you know, the pattern of play is going to be set like this. Certainly lots and lots of possession for Mexico, and it's how well they use it. Can they be inventive and break down a stubborn sort of Uruguayan back 8 now?
As Garcia Aspe goes for the return ball, and again, but the goalkeeper recovered well. Manua is in form tonight.
Well, I did say how inventive they were, and a lovely little play there. Little 1-2 played by Garcia Aspe, takes it, doesn't go across the goal, goes straight at the keeper, and Manua holds it comfortably at the second attempt.
Here's Morales. Sorondo stepping out to win it back again. Vallejas beaten to it by Rodriguez. And wonderful play once again by the ever-inventive Arellano. That flat kick that we've got used to over the last couple of weeks or so of this tournament from the goalkeepers. It was too flat this time, and it's given Mexico possession again, and Uruguay don't want to do that. Mexico with that one-man advantage, dominating possession in the opening minutes of the second half here. Morales on the ball, he's chopped down by Onchan.
There's always the option of for coach Victor Pua, you know, to make sure that they go, maybe even go to a 4 and go 4-4-1 and defend with it, you know, 2 banks of 4. On the other hand, because they're staying with the 3, if I was Coach Aguirre, I may think about using Denigres, you know, bringing him off the bench and going 3-for-3 against their back 3 and see how they cope with that. You know, they've still got the extra man, so they shouldn't be under too much defensive problems, and that will really make the Uruguayan think about how they're going to defend.
Jorge Anson yellow carded for that tackle. Garcia Aspey's cross, and again Manua equal to it, looking a lot more solid and reliable than the opposition goalkeeper as Morales tries to get away at the other end. He's done well here, Morales, he's done brilliantly, and in fairness, so too did Perez.
Oh, he did wonderful there. Great kick from Manua, straight over the head of Tirado, and Morales was too strong and almost too quick for him. He stuck at his task though, to be fair to Tirado, but just didn't quite get enough of the finish. A bit acute an angle, and certainly the keeper made a decent block.
Garcia Aspey. Morales. Well, that's a good looking ball in towards Borghetti, who turned brilliantly. A little nudge, but the referee waves play on.
Great skill from Lemos there, wonderful skill.
And a good ball too. Anson's cross. Morales comes in and turns it in. Uruguay
Offside.
have come back, but the referee has killed their joy.
Well, yeah, you did mention the keeper. You did mention the keeper didn't look very comfortable in there, Perez. He doesn't need to be offside. He doesn't need to be offside, Morales. He can, a wonderful ball in. But look at the keeper. Comes in, I mean, he's come fully, 15 yards out of his box. He's never getting there, and the linesman flag saves him. I did mention he may go with 3 up front, and there comes on Aguirre. Sorry, Denigres, brought on by Aguirre.
Spot on, yep. The striker takes the field for Mexico at a moment when they could have found themselves going a goal behind. Antonio Denigres, who was one of those who faced England at Derby's Pride Park towards the end of last season when England beat Mexico by 4-0. He's on now as an extra attacking player for the Mexicans. Morales for them. 1-1 the score. Mexico in green, Uruguay in the blue. And Uruguay down to 10 men. Tirado getting away from his man. Oh, good play. Morales, great cross. What a ball that was, so inviting. And still danger for Uruguay here. The pressure mounts.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic ball from Morales. Whips it really dangerously right between the keeper and the defenders, and it's a wonderful defensive header. I think it's Sorondo. No, it misses out Sorondo. Excellent header. Excellent header. Really was. Wonderful header. I think it was Becerra at the far post, and then he does well. He does very well, Mercado, skips it across, and there's Sorondo locking out that front post. Yeah, but they've taken off Rodriguez. They'll go with the midfield 3, really, I think, of you know, Tirado, Garcia Aspey and Mercado.
That's the caption just confirming the change there, with Denigres on for Rodriguez. And Uruguay got a player injured here as we take a look at the Mexican substitute, Antonio Denigres. Scored on his international debut for his country against Brazil, of all teams. One to tell the grandchildren about that, I'm sure. And the man down injured is Perez. And again, the mountain rescue team comes sprinting on to haul him to his feet. Or at least onto the stretcher.
Seeing Aguirre now will make coach Victor Pua think about what he does. I mean, if they're going to play 3 up front, for me, you can't go 3 for 3. You want to hold on, so he's got to change to a 4, and that'll mean disrupting some positions. If maybe he plays in the hole, Arellano, that may not be such a problem to you, but you're still going to have to dictate one of the midfield players to mark Arellano. So that's good play from Coach Aguirre. He's made him think, and he's going to make Victor Pua think long and hard about how he's going to adjust the combat there, three up front.
And the referee's been a busy man tonight. Sort of a cynical smile on the face of Vidrio there as the decision went against him. And is it a card as well? I'm never quite certain with this referee. Sometimes he brandishes them in the player's face, and other times he barely takes it out of his top pocket. So we'll have to await confirmation of whether that was another card here. But certainly it's been, with the exception, of course, of that moment when Morales was caught offside, pretty much one-way traffic in the opening stages of this second half. Here goes that man Morales again. And Vidrio seemed to pulled a hamstring or something there as he knocked the ball back to his goalkeeper.
I think that's Marquez, who was just clipped by Richard Morales there as he played the ball back.
Good turn by Iain, and now he goes down. The referee again lays play on. Onchan's ball finds Borghetti. Again an inviting cross. Uruguay holding on well. Everywhere you look now, there's something happening. This has been a really eventful match, this. And Uruguay will want to knock it out of play, surely. And have.
Well, he's a lucky man, Onchan. I think it's Callejas maybe getting a yellow card there. But Onchan's a lucky man. Tries to do a trick on the edge of his box. He can't afford to do that with 10 men, and he gets robbed. They break wide. Borghetti doesn't put the best ball in, and they get away with what supposedly could have been a very, very difficult situation.
Having already had a man sent off, Uruguay also have 3 players now on a yellow card. Mexico have 2, Garcia Aspe and the central defender Marquez. Uruguay have their 2 wing-backs, Onchan and Lima, and also now the man most recently cautioned, Callejas. Incidentally, that is a serious yellow card for Callejas, because if Uruguay come through here to take their place in the final, he will not be able to play, because he was cautioned in the quarter-final as well, and although, as I said, there was an amnesty after the first phase, that didn't count for second phase matches. Well, Uruguay have decided the moment is right to make a change. Onchan is about to be replaced, and it's Carlos Diaz, defender, fullback, who comes on in his place.
Yeah, he plays centre-back in one of the previous games for Uruguay, so again it's more solidity at the back there, and more defensive know-how within that sort of framework of a defensive 5. So again, just a good clever play by Pua there, and just making sure that he's nice and solid. Maybe Onchan had a bit of an injury, but nonetheless it's probably a defensive change that he was maybe thinking about anyway.
Over an hour of this game gone, it's still 1-1. Morales for Mexico, who took the lead, but have had it wiped away by Morales' fine header, and now De Nigris gets his first taste of the action, and it breaks 2, and the shot by Arellano just wide.
I think the keeper maneuver must have been unsighted there. It's a wonderful little interchange between De Nigris and Arellano, and it just takes a slight deflection. It's very glad to see that go wide. Yes, a little slight deflection off Sorondo there, just wide.
Yet another change here for Mexico. Alberto Rodriguez, who's played at right wing-back in earlier matches in the competition, comes on. Lemos, meantime, taking Uruguay forward.
I think it may be Marquez who got injured in that little knock. Maybe he did pull something. Yes, Marquez had to go off, and Rodriguez was slot into that sweeper role.
So they've got a number of players playing in slightly unfamiliar positions, but as I mentioned right at the start, Mexico have made more changes during this Copa America, I think, than any other team, so they're used to the coach changing things around. Uruguay have gained a corner here, and they've got to make the most, obviously, of these set pieces with that one-man disadvantage. Lemos, usually a very accurate taker. And that's good, but just over the head of both Morales and Sorondo. And then the disappointing follow-up effort by Lima.
Well, funny enough, I would interested to see maybe Lima go over and take that kick from the right-hand side of the pitch and bend it in towards the keeper, Perez. I mean, he's not looked at all happy dealing with crosses. You know, and that one outswing doesn't cause him a problem, where the in-swinger may tempt him to maybe come off his line and may bring him some joy.
Lima again. Ricardo trying his best to dispossess him. Lima, a determined character, though. Sorondo's clearance been picked up by Arellano, and he's onside. Borghetti! How did he miss that? Credit to the goalkeeper, Manua, but that, at this level, is an absolute sitter.
Well, what is Gutierrez doing? He's running up his arm up, it's a silly thing. Silly try and play offside there. Wonderful save from Manua, but I'll tell you what, if he rolls it across the face of goal, the Nigris has got a little tap in.
Garcia Aspe's corner. Morales heads it clear. And Uruguay have had a huge let-off. Oh, well played, Lemos. Oh, but he's given it away to Borghetti. The offside flag went up, but it was the Uruguayan player who played it through.
You've got him absolutely spot on. You're absolutely right. The linesman had a terrible decision there, stuck his flag up for offside. But there again, Borghetti. And the initial chance, I don't care who you are, people say, oh, if it's forward, you've got to be greedy in them areas. I disagree with that. If you've got a little tap 2 yards to the side that sets up an open goal for your teammate, that's much more intelligent play. I mean, you can clearly see it definitely is Lemos.
Well, the linesman had better brush up on that particular law as Morales hits the deck. Garcia Aspe winning it back. And now Mercado. Now, can they hang on here, Uruguay? Mexico going closer and closer. Garcia Aspe. This is Morales. Another great cross. Was that a penalty?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's been coming, hasn't it? The pressure has been mounting, and somehow or other, you just felt that Uruguay were about to snap, and now they have.
I think it was Sorondo. No, it wasn't Sorondo. Tirado. Lima, actually. Lima. Wrong side of his man. Poor challenge. Caught himself wrong side. Wonderful ball in from Morales, and they were patient. You know, they stretched him wide, stretched out Morales to the wonderful ball. Tirado got wrong side de Nigris, and the substitution that we all talked about in making has paid dividends. It's up to Garcia Aspe to turn it into goals. I have to say, he did make the most of it. Didn't look that much there, but it's certainly a little shove.
So the captain given the responsibility of sending Mexico into the lead and maybe sending them into the final.
It's a long wait, isn't it?
A long wait. The tension mounts. Garcia Aspe, however, sweeps it home, and Mexico are back in front for the second time in this semi-final.
Yeah, straight down the middle. Pressure on him there, long way. Didn't try anything fancy. Coach Aguirre there congratulating the man he brought back into the frame, Garcia Aspe, and he lashes it home.
And the oldest player in Mexico's squad, Alberto Garcia Aspe, who's won almost 100 caps for his country, might just have given them their passport to the final with that goal.
Nothing in his mind but driving it as hard as he can and as straight as he can. Keeper has to guesses the wrong way, and you have to say, as you said, it's been coming, but I really do credit Aguirre with that. He was nice and bold. He went with a more powerful front line with de Nigris, big and strong, made the sacrifice of the midfield sort of holder in Rodriguez, and it's paid dividends. And Borghetti could have sealed the game already. So, you know, they've been let off a couple of times. Manua's kept him in it, and a bit of poor defensive from Lima. They're getting wrong side, cost the team a goal.
Well, now they've got a massive problem, Uruguay. They set their stall out to defend and hope to get through to a penalty shootout. but they're 2-1 down now. They've got to do something more positive than that to remain in the Copa America. Can they do that? They're looking a little disorganized and disheveled, I have to say, at the moment, and they're 2-1 down. Mexico now big favorites to go through to the final. But with this fella Morales, don't discount Uruguay yet. He really has done exceptionally well.
Well, it's a 70-yard ball. There's 3 defenders around him, and somehow Richard Morales gets the ball on his chest. There you see the penalty driven high and right into the top of the net.
It looks as though Uruguay are going to make a change now. Ruben Oliveira, who played pretty well against Costa Rica, coming on the other night. It's Lemos whose place he has taken, which, unless there's an injury, surprises you a little.
Yeah, it does. But, they're obviously going light for light. They're playing in behind Richard Morales, but I'm a little bit surprised. Lemos did look like the one you can open the door, but maybe they're going with a bit more physical, a bit more direct approach.
Yeah, they've taken off their most creative player, and at the other end, Sorondo almost presented another chance to Borghetti.
And as you alluded to earlier, Alan, the longer it goes and the more they've got to chase the game, the more defensive gaps they'll leave, and you can see Mexico exposing them once or twice. So it's going to be seat of the pants stuff for Uruguay. They've got to commit bodies forward. And, this player looks a decent player, and I think Ramon H. Morales, good player. Delivered 1 or 2 excellent balls into the box, and in the end that proved dividends for him, because it's an unjudicious challenge, and there's the penalty that Garcia Aspe dispatches. But good disguise. Looks to be a foul there for me, but the referee's given it quite right too.
Yeah, foul by Gutierrez. Garcia Aspe will take the free kick, and lots of movement inside the penalty area. And Garcia Aspe hammers it across into that 6-yard box. The ball runs loose, he's still there, and the goalkeeper has made a miraculous save. I really don't know how he kept that one out, and nor does Arellano. Brilliant reaction there from Manua.
Instinctive for Arellano, just sticks out a foot. Wonderful reaction save from Manua. That's 2 of them he's done, and if they do get back into this game, Uruguay, it's going to be a big thanks to Manua. Excellent save.
But they're piling on the pressure now. Arellano fires another cross in. Torrado taken down by the substitute Mercado, who fails to keep it in play. It's very hard now, with 20 minutes remaining, to see how Uruguay can get back into this, but we all thought with even less time to go against Costa Rica the other night that we were going to end up with a penalty shootout. So as I said a moment ago, never discount this courageous Uruguayan team, who have, by a combination of strength and skill and real spirit, got themselves this far. Can they dig themselves out of the massive hole they're in now? 2-1 down, only 10 men against Mexico's 11.
There's still plenty of time. There's definitely still plenty of time. 20 minutes to go. So they haven't got to panic yet, Uruguay, but they've certainly got to try and force situations where they get set pieces, or they get an opportunity to get more support to Richard Morales, because he's run his socks off for meagre scrappings in this second half.
Playing a bit of keep ball now, the Mexicans. The excellent left foot of Morales, with another fine deep cross, but Uruguay have dealt with it this time. Calle has for them. This is Perez. Gutierrez with the long ball. Remember, they're playing for the right to win a place in the Copa America final on Sunday in Bogota. Well, who will join the winners of tonight's tie? You can find that out by tuning in tomorrow when the second semi-final takes place, and that of course involves the host nation Colombia against the underdogs Honduras. Well, I'm full of admiration for the job Richard Morales has done, almost single-handed in this second half. He's gone and gained another corner for his team here.
Yeah, it's a thankless task to play against that back three, but it's about, you know, sometimes when you play one up front, it's easy because you don't know who to mark you, but he's done well. Ball's stuck when it's got to him. He's battled very hard, and he got his goal reward in the first half.
And there he is, winning the header as well, and Sorondo wins the second header, and the keeper with an extravagant punch out. Diaz will play it back in again towards Sorondo. Oh, what a disappointing end to Promising little flurry there.
Yeah, Calais really tried that, whip the ball into the top corner rather than just helping it back into the, the offensive zone. He tries to whip a world-class guy into the top corner and balloons it high wide, and not very handsome.
As Diaz gives it away. Torrado. The ball over the top for De Nigris. Really whipped the cross in. Torrado's there again. And once more. Finds Borghetti. And still Torrado seeing a lot of the ball. Number 6 in the centre of midfield. It's attracted to him like iron filings to a magnet at the moment. He's still there, available in the middle. Garcia Aspe in possession for the moment. His penalty separates the two teams here. Sensible tactics by Mexico, pushing the ball all over the field, making Uruguay run and tire, and keeping possession more importantly. Of course, these teams have played a lot of games in a short space of time now. Fatigue could be a problem, particularly for the team down to 10 men.
I'll tell you what, it would have been a wonderful goal there. Nice patient pass. I think it was about 15-20 passes there. Just Mercado's final ball in, not quite right. But the one thing about that patient possession football is that it's fine now because Uruguay can still sit back with some 15 minutes to go. But when it gets 5 minutes to go, they're going to have to start chasing the game. And that's when the holes will open up in the defensive unit of Uruguay, and they may be able to take their opportunity. But here's this Morales again. He's done excellently again.
Oh, and he's even got a cross in from a really difficult position.
I think he was hoping for a corner there because he had very little support with him, but managed to flash a cross in, and this time Oscar Perez picks it up nice and comfortably.
De Nigris did really well. Here's Morales, who normally whips these crosses in accurately. Gutierrez trying to deny him, but Morales keeps going, pulls it back. Arellano still can't make up his mind, finally does, and gets it all wrong.
Well, a bit overplaying there. I mean, a bit unfortunate the ball didn't quite run for Morales to deliver that first time cross, but when it came to Arellano, I mean, he could have taken the opportunity, decided to overplay, and as a result, they get nothing but, well, an opposing throw-in against them.
We're into the final quarter of an hour, and it is still Mexico leading Uruguay by 2-1. And Uruguay only have 10 men on the field after the first half dismissal of their striker Carlos Morales. And we're going to see another Uruguayan change here.
Stoyanov coming on.
Stoyanov waits before the referee signals him on. He's a striker, and that indicates obviously a striker for a defender in Becerra, but Uruguay now realise they've got to go for broke here. They've got to gamble. And they've got two men in a great position here. Well, if the header had carried any more conviction, they might well have dramatically come back into the game again.
Well, since they've lost Port Rodriguez back there, he's got no real physical presence, not like Marquez, and there. Garcia Aspe is not one of your notable markers, ends up saving a real difficult situation. Stoyanov could have got straight away in there, and maybe he had a chance at goal. As it happens, Garcia Aspe made a decent challenge and prevented from getting a clear header on goal.
Well, Stoyanov's only been on 30 seconds. He's had a chance with a header, and now he's won his team a free kick. Lima will take it. Are Uruguay going to rescue themselves late on again, as they did in the quarter-final against Costa Rica? And it goes towards Morales. And the goalkeeper, in amongst the crowd of players, somehow made some contact.
Well, the keeper definitely, Oscar Perez definitely lacks inches there. He wasn't particularly threatening there when he came. He's not a big physical presence. Look, he has a half flap at it, under good pressure from Morales.
Uruguay are making a real go of it in the closing stages here.
That's the biggest frustration for me, when you take corners, you don't miss out the first man. You know, they may not get that many opportunities. They must make sure they miss that first man out and get delivered to the danger area.
And a yellow card for Denigres, presumably for not retreating the correct distance on the throw.
Is there a rule you have to retreat a certain distance? I don't know, anyway.
Well, I think the referee was thinking he was delaying the play, and the goalkeeper's completely missed it. Oh, how did Uruguay not get level then? This keeper is a stranger mix, I think, of the good and the bad as the referee. And Callejas should have punished him.
I think you've done well for him saying the good and the bad. I mean, it's a woeful attempt at a punch. And Callejas must do better than that. That is a wonderful opportunity. Under no real pressure, empty net. Got to hit the target. I mean, that is an unbelievable opportunity for Uruguay.
Here's Arellano. Good ball in. Well, it's getting very exciting now. Denigres injured in his attempt to get on the end of that cross.
There's a great defensive header from Gutierrez there, really does well. Just where it looks threatening there, Gutierrez throws himself at the ball. I don't quite know what's wrong with... might have trodden him, actually. The referee helping him off the pitch.
Yes, if he needs treatment, that's where he goes for it. A little over 10 minutes remaining here in Pereira, and it's still Mexico beating Uruguay 2-1. Rondo got up well, but the header had been won by, I think it was Vidrio behind him, so that's a goal kick. Well, Uruguay have improved in the last few minutes, Iain, and for the moment wouldn't write them off as Arellano plays the ball in towards Borghetti. Goal kick again.
No, and as I said, I would certainly want to test this keeper more and more, you know, and you know, it may not be the most pretty things to look at, but they've got to be very direct now. They've got to play balls up to Morales and obviously get people supporting him. It's vitally important that they get support around him and get in situations where they can test the keeper.
Stoyanov, the lively young substitute, throws himself at the ball again. Here's Diaz looking for Morales. Oliveira finds him in the end, and here's Stoyanov again. A good ball here, and they could have been in trouble, but the flag goes up.
Even there, though, if you see where the keeper's come to there, I mean, he's 5 yards outside his goal. Here you see it. Look, doesn't show you. It's definitely. I'm not sure it's offside. Very tight.
Looked onside. Undistinguished night for the three officials. It's been. That's a good ball by Arellano. Mercado's cross. Borghetti's there to receive it. Good effort, and another fine save by Manua, who's been as good in Uruguay's goal as Perez has been bad in Mexico.
Yeah, well, he shows his two-footed here. Wonderful effort. Destined for the far corner. Good save from Manua. Really spread himself very, very well. Excellent attempt from Borghetti.
Arellano weaves his way through the photographers to take this Mexican corner. Oh, that was a chance, it really was. I think it was Denigres, was it? Or Sorondo,
Borghetti, I think, near post. And I think this is an excellent chance. You called it right, Alan. Definitely was a great chance, and I think he just doesn't get enough contact on it. I think he's got actually a clear header at goal. Maybe Sorondo does make a decent attempt at defending it, but it's a great opportunity from an excellent delivery.
That is Denigres this time, and that's Tain straight into the goalkeeper's hands. Huge kick as well. Trying to pick out Morales. As Alberto Rodriguez wins it back for Mexico, and then Mercado loses possession. Clever play. Morales has done brilliantly again here. Still going. He has been absolutely different quality. Outstanding game.
Yeah, he done ever so well there, but again, Mercado, no need, tries a nutmeg, but it's all about his pace and strength, and there he is, causing consternation in the Mexican back line, and have to concede another corner. He must miss out the first man, get it in that zone, 10 yards out of the goal, and let them all attack it, the big guns. Much better delivery this time.
8 minutes to go. Could 10 men, Uruguay, rescue this game yet? As Lima flashes one in, I think maybe the linesman's flag's gone up again here.
It's good defending there from Mexico. Push out very, very quickly and catch Lima in offside position. So, that's excellent. Yeah, they do. I think it's the Rondo there, slow to get out and definitely offside. But Marquez there can, Oscar Perez rather, can really count himself so lucky not to be, on level terms after that woeful attempt at a punch 3 or 4 minutes ago that led to Callejas heading over the bar.
Seven minutes remaining. And they've won it back again, Uruguay. Diaz on the ball. Stoyanov. And shame to him, he slipped at the vital moment, but he still found a way through and pulls it back. Not quite to where he wanted it, he's still there. Well, that was remarkable.
Well, you're absolutely right. Initially, he should have crossed it for Richard Morales in the middle, but he does magnificent. And then at the vital moment, when he should pick out a good quality ball, he underhits it and allows the Mexicans to make a desperate clearance.
And Uruguay will get a free kick out of this. Mexico are defending desperately in a game that really they should have had comfortably won by now.
Just bobbles it a bit, and it's excellent. I think it's Vidrio sticks out a foot there. He's looking a bit tired as the game gets on, Garcia Aspe. A couple of poor challenges and got robbed in midfield there.
Well, this could be a vital free kick for Uruguay. Get this right, and we might be looking at a penalty shootout. Not bad. Morales, far post. Easy this time for the keeper, though. And that's a great kick. Morales.
Good goalkeeping again from Manua. Great starting position for them to come and pick up that cross, and it was destined for the feet of Borghetti.
Oliveira trying to win it back, but Torrado did well. There's Mercado. We're into the last 5 minutes.
Well, it's make or break time now for Uruguay. They've got to push bodies forward. They've had their one gilt-edged opportunity. Callejas headed over, but there's certainly a bit of joy to be had from deliveries into the box. And now it's a case of killing time. Oh, wonderful skill from Borghetti there.
He felt he was blocked there as well. And so does the referee. Well, it seems an age ago, Borghetti's goal for Mexico. Since then, we've had an equaliser, a sending off, a flurry of yellow cards, several near misses, some great saves. It's been an eventful match, this first semi-final. Garcia Aspe whips the free kick in, and once more Manua equal to it.
That's an absolutely wonderful free kick from Garcia Aspe. Pace and everything, and just eludes the man diving across the front. I think it was Denigris throwing his body across the front. Just eludes him into the hands of Manua.
And then he's caught in the sandwich there, the Mexican player. And the referee certainly right to give the free kick. Oh, one touch there and it would have been in.
I think it was Mercado with the outstretched leg there. Yeah, it was then. I think if he'd have gone with his head and dived for it, it could have been all over for Uruguay.
I'm sure we haven't had another yellow card or not there.
Strange free kick from very little contact there. Very little contact.
Sorondo, the player, going in as Stoyanov comes forward again for Uruguay. Oliveira uses his strength to hold on to possession. They're certainly making a game of this, Uruguay. And they'll get a free kick.
Just thinking there, Aspe there. Garcia Aspe, it is, he's off.
Oh dear.
And again, Callejas has reminded the referee that's 3 or 4 times. He gets a second yellow, off he goes. And now we're going to have a game for the last 2 or 3 minutes.
And that will mean, of course, that Mexico's captain and quite possibly their match winner will be forced to sit out the final if Mexico get there.
It's such a shame for him, you know, probably his last Copa as well. And shows his frustration there. It really is disappointing, you know, to miss out on maybe a Copa America final when, you know, at that age is so disappointing. And also, it may make a really interesting 3 or 4 minutes here.
So now both countries are down to 10 men. Lima, whose goal proved a late winner from a free kick against Costa Rica in the quarterfinal, lines up another effort here, the number 6 for Uruguay. Clipped in towards Morales this time. The keeper got both fists to it and did well. Now Arellano knows he needs to hold on to the ball, but he's tried a beautiful reverse ball to Rodriguez, and Morales is clear and unmarked in the middle, and he's gone for Borghetti, and the goalkeeper's done brilliantly again, driven back in, and again Rodriguez, and in the end Uruguay survives somehow.
Well, it's such a poor ball from Rodriguez for me. No pace on it, really has the opportunity to kill off the game. A nice firm whipped-in cross to Morales, make it, busting a gut to get in the middle. He was certainly in there. Ramon H. Morales was waiting for a tap-in. He plays a slow ball that Borghetti's never getting to. Manua comes and makes a clearance, and that was a chance to kill the game off for Mexico. They could lose to regret that.
Another yellow card in there as well for Sorondo. It'd be easy to tell you he hasn't been cautioned in this game. Well, we're in the last minute. And Oliveira has done brilliantly there. And here goes Morales again, trying to cause problems for Mexico's defence, which he's done all night. Oh dear, the final effort in that concerted attack was very poor. But Mexico are being made to fight tooth and nail for their place in the final here. And the 14 times Copa American champions, Uruguay, bidding for their place in the final for the 21st time in their history, are now just the duration of stoppage time away from going out. And is that 4 minutes, I think?
Yeah, it is.
That is unusual in these championships. We've normally only had a minute or two, so there are 4 minutes for Uruguay to rescue it. There's another free kick given away. They're panicking, Mexico.
It's just such a silly challenge from Ramon Morales there. I mean, he doesn't need to do that. Just let him have the ball in front. Give away a set piece. This time in the game could be very, very costly.
Diaz will take it. Is there a final twist of drama in here? Something's going on off the ball, presumably. Referee absolutely sprinting across. There's going to be another red card, I think, in the middle of all this lot. There's so many players on yellow cards anyway, it's almost inevitable. We've had 2 dismissals in the game. Are we about to see another? I don't know what happened. I don't think the referee does. He's getting advice from both his linesmen.
I think it was...
Diaz involved. It was nothing more than a little slap.
No, I think there's another incident that happened in the box. I think there was a Mexican player went down. I think maybe there was something perpetrated by one of the Uruguayan defenders. And there's a big conflab going on here.
Well, we're going to have a committee meeting now. This is chaos.
Well, it's been a feature of the Copa. There's been a lot of this goes on, you know, and
who'd be a referee? Everyone's got an opinion out there at the moment. They're all prepared to offer that opinion. And what the outcome of all this is, heaven only knows.
I think Sorondo and Denigris have had a little bit of a contretemps there between them, and Denigris is not at all happy with Sorondo at the moment.
There's a red card.
Morales and Vidrio.
Oh, and there's another incident off the ball, right under the nose of the referee. Well, I think it's a shame Morales has had to get involved in that late on. He's played so well.
That's a scandalous thing. I mean, it's clearly nutted him with the back of his head there. I mean, that's an outrageous thing. They've been sent off already. That's an outrage. Mind you, it looks like Vidrio did make a bit too much of it there. Certainly hit him with his head, though. And that's a shame to see. It takes the tarnish of what's been. It tarnishes what's an excellent game. You know, it's been an excellent game technically. You know, plenty of entertainment, and to finish with this sort of happenings, it does leave a sour taste in your mouth.
4 red cards, 2 for each side, and I would imagine something like 9 or 10 yellow cards as well. And we're still going here. And we were given the indication that before minutes of stoppage time. Well, that whole incident has taken another 2 minutes to sort out. The most dramatic and controversial game of the entire tournament, and it's not over yet as Diaz plays it back in. No Morales to win the headers now. Can Mexico hold on to their lead here? It'll be at a price, of course, because they will have 2 players, Garcia Aspe and Vidrio, who will not be able to play in the final if they get there, having been red carded. As Lima hauls another of those trademark long throws in, and the goalkeeper lost it, juggled it, and somehow or other held on to the ball. I would not want him in my goal, that guy. Sorry, but he would give you nightmares. And at the other end, Manua almost did the same.
Well, you don't want any fancy work from your keeper there. Just grab the ball and clear it. I mean, Denikas was back there, done an excellent job with a few defensive headers. But then it comes to the keeper who starts to become a juggler. And then it seems to be infectious because Manua nearly has a bit of a nightmare at the other end.
Can Uruguay, in what must surely be the last minute or so, I would think, force this game into one final twist of drama? Heaven knows we've had enough of it already. They need a goal to send this game into a penalty shootout.
Looks like they've rode the storm, they've rode a bit of luck late in the game, although I think generally overall, certainly with the sending off, they had a lot of possession. The sending off changed the game for me. I thought Uruguay were in the ascendancy when their player sent off. So for me, Carlos Morales' challenge on Torrado probably cost Uruguay the game.
And Arellano tries to just confirm. Now Fakti goes down under the challenge. Goal kick. Or is it? He's given a penalty. Well, even the Mexican players are shocked and the Uruguayans are absolutely disgusted.
It's a corner.
Well, the referee has distinguished himself tonight by the most confusing instructions and some confusing decisions.
I think confusion reigns, you're absolutely right. I mean, no real leadership from the referee on the pitch tonight. There's been a lot of confusion and obviously a very, very unseemly melee as well.
I don't think he'd be getting the final, Senor Sanchez. Was it a goal kick? Was it a penalty? Was it a bird? Was it a play? It was nothing. It was a corner, and there's another incident.
Off.
Well, somewhat typically of this referee, he's given the decision that you wouldn't have expected, a yellow card to Torrado. He's completely lost the plot now, the referee, as Uruguay still low. That's pathetic as well, that attempted dive in the penalty area.
Sorondo up now, playing as a centre forward. I think they're looking at someone, surely there must be a player to take it, throw it back to the keeper. It's all over.
It's all over. A dramatic, controversial and very eventful night has ended with Mexico beating Uruguay by 2-1, and Mexico are finalists in the Copa America.
Un rival muy complicado, pero los mexicanos, grandes animadores del torneo en los últimos 8 años, no han fallado esta vez a la cita. Comenzaron ganando contra Brasil, aquello fue sin duda una gran premonición, y se han plantado después de 2 terceros puestos consecutivos en las 2 últimas ediciones, Bolivia 97 y Paraguay 99, en la que será su segunda final. Mañana, en la otra semifinal de Manizales, al norte, en el eje cafetero, conoceremos entre Colombia y Honduras quién es el finalista que juega con México el último partido decisivo de la Copa América 2001. Señoras y señores, mañana a la misma hora les esperamos desde Manizales, desde Pereira. Muy buenas noches.